Thank you.
Thank you. Compliments of the new season. And good morning and welcome, everyone. All the best for the year. We will read the statement and then we'll take the questions after. I hope the statement has been circulated. Have you circulated the statement?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I thought it was circulated before we start so that you can have a look. But anyway, let me start to read, which reads as follows. At the end of every month, accounting officers of municipalities submit financial statements to the Gauteng Provincial Treasury, detailing their state of municipal budgets as required by Section 71.1 of the Municipal Finance Management Act, number 56 of 2003. Furthermore, on a quarterly basis, the Gauteng Provincial Treasury compiles a consolidated statement on the state of municipal budgets and submits the documents to the Gauteng Provincial Legislature in compliance with Section 71.7 of the MFMA. Therefore, today we are publishing the consolidated quarterly statement of municipal finance report covering the first half of the 2025-2026 financial year, which ended on 31 December 2025. We are doing this in a conscious effort to inform the public about the financial performance of municipalities in our province and how this impacts on service delivery to communities. At the start of the current municipal financial year on 1 July 2025, Gauteng municipalities adopted a consolidated budget of 229.1 billion for operating revenue and 222.2 billion for operating expenses, resulting in an overall budgeted operating surplus of 6.9 billion. The total operational revenue generated by Gauteng municipalities as of 31 December 2025 was 123.3 billion, or 53.9% of the annual budget and 3.9% more than the 50% straight line estimate. The metropolitan municipalities were the primary contributors. City of Ekurhuleni contributed 34.5 billion. City of Johannesburg contributed 48.5 billion, and the City of Tshwane 27.6 billion. The operating expenditure incurred during this period amounted to 109.2 billion, representing 49.2% of the annual budget, the main contributors being the metropolitan municipalities. As a result, most of Gauteng municipalities have generally been functioning within the adopted budget during the first half of this financial year. However, the City of Johannesburg, Lesedi Local Municipality, Mirafong City Local Municipality, and Rand West City Local Municipality reported accumulated operating deficit during this period. The collection rate for majority of the Gauteng municipalities as at the end of December 2025 was 30.1 billion, or 116%, which is higher than the 95% expected standard as per the MFMA Circular 71. However, the collection rate for City of Johannesburg, Mfuleni Local Municipality, Lesedi Local Municipality, and Mirafong Local Municipality were below the expected norm of 95%. Gauteng municipalities have approved an aggregated capital expenditure budget of 16.2 billion for the 2025-2026 financial year, reflecting an increase from the previous year's budget of 14.9 billion. This represents a growth of nearly 1.3 billion, or approximately 8% in allocations dedicated to infrastructure development. The capital budget is supported primarily by conditional grants allocated through the Division of Revenue Act number 24 of 2024 that represent national grants of 55%, which is 8.9 billion. Provincial allocations accounting for 8%, which is 1.4 billion. Borrowings for infrastructure development, 22%, which is 3.5 billion, and capital projects that are funded by internally generated funds representing 15%, which is 2.4 billion. As of 31 December 2025, Gauteng municipalities reported a total expenditure of 5.4 billion, accounting for 34% of the annual budget. Although aggregate expenditure remains below the 50% threshold at this stage, except for Rand West City local municipality at 68%, historical trends indicate that municipalities are likely to achieve at least 85% of budgeted spending by the end of the financial year. The following is the performance of individual grants in municipalities as of the 31st December 2025. Municipal infrastructure grant is 62%. All the municipalities have spent above the required 40%. Notable Lesedi is sitting at 89%. Integrated urban development grant, 52%. Mogale City is the only recipient of the grant, reporting 52% as of 31 December 2025. Water services infrastructure grant is at 46%, and the average spending is 46%. Mogale City is the highest performing municipality with an average spending of 59%, and such a level of expenditure is highly commendable, whilst Mirafong Local and Lesedi performed below the required 40% at 39% and 32% respectively. Urban Settlement Development Grant, 23%. The USDG, as is commonly known, average spending is 23%, which is a grant for metropolitan municipalities. This low spending will likely affect service delivery negatively if acceleration plans on CAPEX spending are not developed and implemented. Neighborhood Development Partnership Grant, 32%. Overall expenditure as of 31 December 2025 is reported at an average of 34%. The spending is concerning and low. Integrated Electrification Program grant is sitting at 59%. The aggregated expenditure is satisfactory, and the municipalities are likely to spend their entire allocation by 30 June 2026. Public Transport Network grant is sitting at 21%. The reported average spending is 21% in the Public Transport Network grant, and is one of the largest capital grants received by metros. Yet, it is one of the worst performing grants. All the recipients of this grant are not performing well, as no municipality managed to spend above 40%. There is high possibility that the allocation will be reduced as per requirements of Division of Revenue, Section 17 and 18. The National Treasury has issued Circular 130, which was developed in collaboration with provincial treasuries and in line with the requirement of the MFMA. This circular confronts the significant infrastructure challenges that the country and provinces are currently facing, particularly the issue of aging infrastructure. Municipalities must immediately prioritize the renewal of existing infrastructure assets in their adjusted budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Specifically, they are mandated to allocate 60% of their capital budget to the renewal of these assets and 40% new infrastructure projects. Moreover, the circular underscores the vital necessity of repairs and maintenance for infrastructure assets. Municipalities are required to budget at least 8% of their total infrastructure assets value for repairs and maintenance, ensuring that service delivery remains uninterrupted and effective for the communities in Gauteng. In addition, the Gauteng Provincial Treasury has issued a practice note regarding this matter in order to facilitate effective planning for infrastructure development and to ensure that all required activities are undertaken so that municipalities can optimize the use of allocated funds. In strengthening municipal finance management across Gauteng, we will intensify targeted support to municipalities through a strategic and developmental supply chain management approach. This will focus on improving procurement planning, accelerating capital expenditure and infrastructure delivery, and reducing unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure through strengthened preventative controls. These measures will enhance governance, promote ethical procurement, and ensure that municipal resources are utilized efficiently and transparently to improve service delivery outcomes. As at 31 December 2025, Gauteng municipalities reported an aggregate debtors balance of 165.7 billion. A significant portion of the total debt balance is related to households at 73.3%, commercial at 23.2%, and state organs at 3%. Gauteng municipalities are having difficulty putting credit control policies into practice, which leads to a poor collection rate and ultimately an inability to pay off debts when they become due. The Gauteng provincial government outstanding debt to municipalities amount to 2 billion as at the end of December 2025, following payment of 1.7 million against a total billed amount of 2.19 billion. The debt profile is largely concentrated within the three metropolitan municipalities, the city of Johannesburg, city of Tshwane, and the city of Ekurhuleni, which together account for the majority of the outstanding balance. The main drivers of the provincial debt are the Department of Infrastructure Development, accounting for 51% of the debt, followed by education at 33% and health at 12%. While progress has been made through targeted payments, the current debt levels remain significant and require sustained intervention. In collaboration with the Gauteng Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, we continue to engage municipalities through structured intergovernmental platforms, including the Debt Management Committee, to verify accounts, resolve historical discrepancies, and implement payment plans aligned to available cash flows. Priority is being given to stabilizing municipal finances, preventing service disruptions, and strengthening financial controls to avoid the accumulation of new debt. Gauteng municipalities have reported an aggregated creditors balance amounting to 37.9 billion as at 31 December 2025, which is a significant decrease from 53.2 billion reported in November 2025. The main contributor to this reduction was the city of Tshwane, which reported creditors of 5.7 billion compared to 18.3 billion reported in November 2025. The bulk of the aggregated creditors balance relates to bulk electricity, accounting for 53.7% of the total creditors, followed by trade creditors at 30%. In this period, three municipalities, namely the city of Ekurhuleni, Midvaal Local Municipality, Mohali City, were able to pay their suppliers within 30 days during this period. Citibank still has a balance of over 90 days. In 2023, the National Treasury granted approval to 5 municipalities in Gauteng to participate in the Eskom debt relief program. These municipalities are Mfuleni, Lesedi, Mogale, Rand West, and Mirafong City. The municipal debt relief is for a period of 36 months only, and it's a leverage on government's bigger proposals to a debt relief package for Eskom. At the municipalities, all the municipalities, 36 months will end in 2027. There are 14 conditions set out in the MFMA Circular 124, which these municipalities should comply with monthly to qualify for the write-off. These conditions are essentially aimed at restoring a set of basic minimum financial management best practice in municipalities, owing Eskom and change the municipal culture of not paying bulk suppliers and municipal and Eskom culture to not collect revenue. Rand West City was the first municipality to receive a write-off of 279.7 million from the ring-fenced debt of 839.7 million after complying with the conditions of the Eskom debt relief program, followed by Mfuleni and Mogale City, which were granted their first one-quarter write-off on the one-third write-off on the 16th of December 2024 and 20th of February 2025, amounting to 1.9 billion and 72.1 million respectively. All these municipalities are awaiting National Treasury's approval of their second write-off. Lesedi and Mirafong City completed the first cycle at the end of November 2024 and second cycle in November 2025. However, a final assessment has yet to be finalized by National Treasury to determine whether they qualify for the write-off or not. Mogale City is one of the best performing municipalities under the debt relief program, and the municipality has adopted a funded budget and continually paying its current Eskom account. Mfuleni local municipality signed a distribution agency agreement with Eskom and entered into a special purpose vehicle agreement with Rand Water Services, which plays a key role in debt management between the municipality and the two entities. Payment of suppliers within 30 days is not discretionary. It is a legal requirement in terms of Section 65, subsection 2, subsection E of the Municipal Finance Management Act. In enforcing the legal requirement that suppliers be paid within 30 days, government is also addressing outstanding debt owed to municipalities by public office bearers. As at 31 December 2025, municipal councillors and officials or workers collectively owed municipalities approximately 165.7 million, with the largest balances recorded in the city of Johannesburg at 74.8 million, the city of Tshwane 36.2 million, and the city of Ekurhuleni 22.9 million. These amounts are primarily attributable to municipal officials. Formal correspondence has been issued to municipalities to enforce recovery measures and ensure compliance by councillors and officials. In total, councillors in various municipalities in Gauteng owe municipalities an aggregated amount of 5.5 million. It must be noted that councillors who owe their respective municipalities, except for those in the city of Ekurhuleni, each have outstanding balances on their accounts ranging from 100,000 and above. In addition, officials owe their respective municipalities a total of 160.2 million as at 31 December 2025. In this regard, the city of Johannesburg is leading with 72 million owed by officials, followed by the city of Tshwane, city of Ekurhuleni, and Mfuleni with a debt of over 10 million each. In conclusion, the Gauteng Provincial Treasury continues to support and monitor the progress on municipal spending against the projections to meet service delivery objectives to communities. That is why, amongst other things, we have introduced the following initiatives. The department has appointed 10 municipal advisors through a municipal finance hands-on support program to provide technical hands-on support to selected municipalities in the province. Among some notable achievements due to the program is an improvement in the 2023-2024 audit outcomes, such as reduced audit findings in most of our municipalities. The advisors will continue to work with municipal officials in improving their budgeting techniques with a view of reducing the number of municipalities tabling the underfunded budgets. In collaboration with the Gauteng Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, we established an intergovernmental structure known as the Debt Management Committee. Since the establishment of the DMC in 2017-2018 financial year, municipalities have received a cumulative total of 21.4 billion in payments from the Gauteng provincial government. The largest share of these payments has consistently been directed to the 3 metropolitan municipalities, reflecting both the scale of services rendered and historical account backlogs, with Mfuleni local municipality also receiving significant portion relative to other local municipalities. This track record demonstrates that whilst outstanding balances remain at the point in time, the DMC has been an effective platform for systematic debt reduction, account verification, and structured settlements, reinforcing the commitment to honor our obligations and supporting municipal financial sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MEC. We will now open a round or two for questions and public comments. I would start number 1, you ma'am. Number 2.
Must introduce themselves, the houses they come from.
Number 3, number 4. So you've got to say the media house you're from and your name. Can I have a mic, please? Thank you. Media house and name.
Good morning, MEC. It's Diabosito from SABC News. MEC, I just want to find out about this debt of unpaid bills, sitting at 165.7 billion
Of what?
unpaid bills. Unpaid bills. And you also have a 37.9 billion that's owed to creditors as of December 2025. So what are you going to do to stop the spiraling of the debt? Are these interventions that you introduced towards the end part of the way to stop the spiraling municipal debt? And secondly, you've only spent a third of the 16.2 billion on your capital expenditure, capital budget. How worried are you about underspending when it comes to infrastructure projects within the province? And what interventions do you have in place for that? Thank you.
Number 2.
Can I speak from here?
Yes, please.
Good morning, MEC. Abigail Fasaki from the Gauteng Times. You mentioned that there are 27 conditions in which the municipalities have to comply within. What are the repercussions thereof if they do not comply? Also, if the DMC is so progressive, what are your plan of action to ensure that the debt gets scraped off? Thank you.
Number 3. Mike, please.
Thank you very much, MC. Zola Sholana from Newsroom Africa. I've got a couple of questions. Firstly, on underperformance and accountability of municipalities. What do you think is the root cause of municipalities failing to spend beyond 40% of their grant? And also, maybe a summary of which municipalities are the worst performers and what corrective actions have been taken against those municipalities? And another question on the risk of reduced allocations because of failing to spend their grant. grants as they should, what is the financial impact to the province should these reductions be implemented? Thank you.
Number 4, the last one.
Hi, MEC and the rest of the leadership, right in here from Netwerk 24. MEC, my first question would be around budgeting for municipalities. How involved is the provincial government in that process? I know in one of the engagements I had with the Premier, he said there's a need to reform because at municipal level, service delivery is lacking in Gauteng. So what's being done around that and how involved are you in the budgeting process? And then in terms of cost cutting, I know like in Johannesburg, for example, 24% of the 89 billion rand is spent on salaries. Do you think there's a need to cut costs in a way so that this debt that you speak of is perhaps better service from existing budgets, and that it's not a hopeful amount that you hope to collect, but it's actually part of the funded budget, and then you service and lower the debt in that way perhaps. And then the commanding chief of the EFF mentioned on Friday that they will not be supporting your budgets going forward. What's the implications of that political decision, MEC? Because that could definitely trickle down and cause a very problematic situation. Thank you so much.
MEC on the panel.
Is the question you want to answer? Wait. Okay. No, thanks. Thanks for the questions. Starting with Diabo on the unpaid bills. What is owed to the municipalities and what the municipalities are owing. Obviously, if municipalities are not collecting, they will not be able to pay their creditors, especially the bulk suppliers like Eskom and Rainwater. So we want to take this opportunity to urge our communities and business and government departments to pay for the services that are rendered by the municipalities. That's one. But two, we know that there are instances where there are inaccurate bills from the municipalities. Hence, there are disputes sometimes. So we also want to urge municipalities to work on the credibility of their billing systems, because if they don't work on the credibility of their billing systems, some of these problems will persist. But thirdly, there is a correlation between the inability to pay and unaffordability by the consumers with the state of the economy, because some of the people are unemployed and can't afford to pay for their services. And that's why at all the times we have to endeavor to ensure that we improve our economy. It grows and it creates jobs so that people are able. So that's in the medium to long term. And I think sometime now in February in March, we will be unveiling our own economic plan of the Gauteng provincial government in terms of how we're dealing with this. So the issue of what municipalities are owed, and if you look at it, 73% is households, only 3% is government, and only 23% it's businesses. So we'll need those businesses to pay, because that 23% it's significant and it can help to deal with many other issues. So I hope that answers your question. The second question on the 1/3 that is only spent on infrastructure, it is of course concerning and worrying for us, because spending on infrastructure contributes as well towards growing the economy, towards stabilizing it, and towards creating jobs, but it also helps the municipalities to improve the quality of services that they offer, because some of this infrastructure spent is on water, electricity, infrastructure, for instance. So it is concerning for us, and we will be continuing to engage with the municipalities to improve on spending on this infrastructure. So Abigail, the conditions we're talking is not 27, it's about 14. Yes. So I might have missed that, but on those 14, what it means is that if you don't respond positively as a municipality, you will not benefit from the debt recovery program as introduced by Treasury. And implications is that your debt is continuing to grow, and especially for the local municipalities, and it doesn't help you to improve in service delivery. Zola, I think there are several things that can contribute towards municipalities not spending, and maybe not spending at the rate they're supposed to, because as you have seen, they are spending, but not at the rate they're supposed to be spending. Hence the worries that they might underspend, especially in centered grants. If you look at the transport grant, for instance, which is the biggest, and you've got potholes, you've got some roads that are not in good condition, what it means is that there's no problem of money to a larger degree, especially if the money is not spent. So you can't say there's a shortage of money when you're not spending it. So there are several reasons, and one of them might be lack of proper planning, one, and two, it might be depending on municipality by municipality, because the municipalities are not the same. It might be shortage of adequate skills to help the municipality to be able to spend the money. But there might also be a problem of appointing wrong service providers who don't have the capacity. But it varies from project to project, and as I've said, there are several reasons. I think on the statement we do show you there in terms of how municipalities are spending. Their performance varies from grant to grant, so you can't say this is the worst performing or not. One municipality might be spending well on one grant, not spending well on another grant and all that. So it varies, and I think the detail on the statement should be able to help you make a determination. The reduction of budgets on municipalities has got a huge implication for service delivery, and that's why we want to make sure that municipalities spend their money and there's no municipality that returns money, because I think that should be seen as a crime against humanity, especially when you are facing huge problems of unemployment, of poverty, economy is not doing well. It can't be explainable why people can't spend resources. So we would not want to understand why people don't want to spend. We want to see them spending. Brayton, the municipality is involved, I'm sorry, the province is involved because to answer this question, let me answer it this way. As you know, we have a unitary system of governance in the country. And even our distribution of resources emanates from that unitary character. The Division of Revenue Act directs on how money must be distributed, starting from national, provincial, and local. And then that's one important point to understand. But as you know, municipalities largely depends on the rates and taxes that they collect and other revenue sources. And they also have what they call IDP process. So in terms of the law, before they finalize their IDPs, the provincial government, through the Department of Cooperative Governance, must comment on the IDPs. And the IDPs is what is used for budgeting. Whether that process is as effective as it's supposed to be, it's another issue that we can discuss. But there is participation and interaction between the municipalities, province, and even national. In fact, at the national level, the minister has a forum called the Budget Forum. So in the Budget Forum, it's the provinces and organized local government through SALGA, and they participate in that process. So before the Minister of Finance presents his budget, he consults with us, with the municipalities, and with organized local government. Then we make a determination. So whatever you hear the minister presenting, it's a product of consultation by all the three spheres of government. It's a very robust process. It's not as easy because, as you know, everyone wants resources and everyone believes that they are underfunded. So it's a robust process. Yes, there must be not cost containment, but especially on the administration costs. We should strive to direct most of the resources towards service delivery. For instance, Gauteng government, our stance is clear. Currently, our budget, 40% goes to salaries and administrations. Am I right? No, 60%, yes. So 60%, yeah. So we would want to encourage municipalities as well to have a balanced ratio. Cities like Joburg, you know, there's been a history as well. When Mr. Mashaba was a mayor, you will know there were certain decisions taken which I think have also had an implication on ballooning their salary bill and all that. We can talk about that some other time. And then, you know, I thought this question you won't ask it because you will. So the EFF says they won't vote for the budget of the. Okay, the CIC of EFF says the MEC of Finance budget. So it's not my budget. I don't have a budget. So I just present it. And I expected that you'll ask this question. So I thought about how to respond about it. Of course, we want everyone's support for the budget. Of course, we want everyone's support who's in the legislature. That's the first thing. And we want to appreciate the support that all the parties have given, your EFF, MKP, and the parties that were in partnership with in the Provincial Government of Unity in the last 2 years. It has made our life a bit easier. But we are confident that we will be able to pass our budget. And we'll talk about this when we present the budget. I think on the 10th of March, we'll be presenting the budget. So I don't foresee a big problem in terms of passing the budget. And we will continue to engage with all parties, including the EFF, because you will know that they have reasons why they have taken that posture. And one of the reasons is what happened in Eguruleni between them and the ANC. And they have a right to participate or not participate in any process. So it's their discretion, and we respect it. But we will continue to engage with everyone because we definitely want a budget that is supported by the majority in the legislature, a budget that works in the interest of the citizens of Gauteng. So at this point, we will say that we hope for the best. And when we have started the process of preparing for that budget, which we will present on the 10th of March. Yeah. Is there anything you wanted, Chief Director? Any addition?
I just wanted to indicate on the part of, as MEC has indicated, that when it comes to the debtors in municipalities, first and foremost, we have a responsibility as enshrined in the Bill of Rights that everyone is entitled to basic services. So it means in trying to deal with a component of the population that is not capable of paying for their services, we work with national because the minister would come up with what we call a local government equitable share. So they compensate the municipalities for those services. And what is key in that, you need to make sure that you have an accurate indigent register, which is what working with the Gauteng province, we are trying, working with the municipalities to come up with a credible indigent register, as you're all aware of the high unemployment rate we are facing in the country. So those are some of the initiatives that we are looking at. And I think another contributory factor when we talk about the poor performance of CAPEX, as MEC has indicated, issues of poor planning, poor performance by contractors, but we also have situations where sites are closed by communities for whatever reasons, which are mostly related to the awarding of the tenders or issues like that, which is something that requires then community engagement. So those things result in delays in finishing some of the projects that we are dealing with. So I think, MEC, those were the issues that we're looking at, and the interventions we're looking at is the pre-planning, because, you know, we've seen instances that as much as a municipality has a project in its IDP, which happens way before the start of the financial year, but issues of coming up with the specifications for that particular project only commences after the financial year. We know that the budget must be approved, but a document, because when you have specifications, it doesn't mean that you are already advertising, because it's important that by the time you advertise, your budget has been approved. But planning means that you know what are the specifications for the project that you are looking at. So the developmental SCM approach that we're looking at, those are some of the aspects that we're looking at. And also developing a bank of specifications, because we find that some municipalities, because metros would have more experience and more qualified people working in the municipalities. We share that expertise by ensuring that specifications the smaller municipalities can leverage on the work that has already been done by the more advanced and developed municipalities. I think I'll leave it at that. Oh, and lastly, on the part of the budgets, our role is that before the budget is even tabled at council, the team, which the chief director is part of, our municipal financial management team, reviews those draft budgets and provide inputs into what the municipality should ensure is in place and because it's another thing to have a budget, but what is important to ensure that your budget is backed by cash. So the trends of the past will determine if, what you're budgeting for, will you be able to generate the income to actually support that budget. And once the budget is even approved at council, we still look and check if our inputs and contributions have actually been taken into consideration. And should we find that in some municipalities budgets are unfunded, then they need to produce a budget funding plan that we monitor on a monthly basis and continue to support them in that regard. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you, MEC and the panel. I would like to check if there's any follow-up questions, just one last round. Then would allow media houses to come for one-on-one after this. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. In that order. Thank you very much. Number 1.
Thank you, Dimakasa from EWN. And see, I wanted to know, you made a point about how households should be encouraged to pay, but in the statement you've made mention of councillors and officials of municipalities, in all municipalities, I think over 160 million. What does that say to the public? Why, for somebody who's listening to this, why should they pay if councillors and officials aren't paying? Thank you.
Thank you, MEC. Brighton here again from Netwerk 24. Just the last one. I know there's this buzzword going around, artificial intelligence. MEC, is there a need perhaps to invest in AI to increase productivity at municipal level? Is that perhaps a good starting point for government adopting this new era we are entering? Thank you.
MEC Zola Sholana from Newsroom Africa once again. I think my question is in relation to what my colleague from EWN has already asked. So the question is basically, why do municipal councillors and officials owe municipalities such an amount of money, which is about 165 million rands, while ordinary residents face credit controls and service disruptions? This happened quite a lot in the city of Tshwane and the city of Johannesburg. And also, what explains the failure to recover these debts, particularly from senior officials who understand municipal financial policies? Thank you.
4.
Good day, MEC and colleagues. My name is Mposo Kharume from the Gauteng Times. I just want to ask MEC, after all is said and done, when will Treasury probably stop providing intervention support to municipalities in accordance to MFMA, to maybe dissolve non-compliant councils entirely?
What are you saying?
I'm asking, when will the Treasury actually maybe take a harsh stance, and dissolve non-compliant councils entirely for these financial mismanagement issues that are around, in accordance to the MFMA. So, instead of just giving them a slap on the wrist and maybe trying to give intervention support all the time, when will a harsh stance be taken?
Thank you.
Thank you. Really clear from it what it means. MEC, I've got 2 straightforward, open-ended questions. Now, some political apparatchiks from whether academia or the opposition benches are saying municipalities are facing unending challenges due to political instability. That's number 1. And they further argue that there is an an uncontrolled rapid growth, rapid growth of informal settlements. I just wanted to hear what's your take on it. And secondly, this one is VAL related. Every time you open a radio, there's complaints from VAL, right?
From?
From VAL area. I just want to hear from you what's the feedback you're getting from municipalities. One, severe sewage overflow. It's happening intermittently. Number two, no functioning traffic control systems. That's what people are saying. It's not me, MEC. And that's also happening intermittently. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The last one.
And since we are again, I would like some information with regards to the indigent program on the back of the fact that the economy obviously is not doing well. Are you perhaps seeing a trend of more families applying for the indigent program? And if you have those numbers, can you just share with us? And which municipalities are seeing more applications for the indigent program? And then lastly, in your conclusion, we talk about the appointment of the advisors program, the 10 municipal advisors. Can you share more information about who these advisors are? Could you have not found, if they're outside of the city, maybe they're an external service, was there no capacity to do this internally? And if so, and then at what cost are these advisors coming to the province? Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me see.
No, thank you. Let me start with the Makato. Yeah, I think we're not saying all councillors and all officials are not paying. So we shouldn't say if councillors and officials are not paying, why shouldn't? These are very few, by the way. And it doesn't mean that it's not a problem. So it is a problem. So the majority of councillors and the majority of officials are paying. So that's the first thing. But there are few who are not paying, who are in the system. And that's why we are highlighting it, because we want all of them to pay. So everyone must pay. So we can't hide this, because we talk about households, commercial, government. As you can see, we are, if you like, you can call it naming and shaming. Not just households, not just commercial, not just government departments. We've even stated which government department is owing how much and all that, and which ones are the biggest. So it's about being transparent and making sure that and we did say that I have written a letter to the mayors and the speakers to ask them to deal with this. And we will have to think about more measures. One of the things you might have to look at is to check if the law allows you to dock their salaries, for instance. If the law allows. So if the law allows, we will definitely do that. Or rather, encourage municipalities to do that. We would also have to, at some point, look at the possibility of naming and shaming, especially those councillors, so that municipalities must know who's not paying, because all of us must pay. We even said we must not just look at those who are working in the municipalities, even those who are working in government, province, national, state-owned agencies. Everybody has to pay, because those are people who are employed. So we encourage everyone to pay. Citizens, everyone, business, everyone, and people who are working in these municipalities. There is a need to invest in AI, not just in municipalities, across the different spheres of government and agencies, and we've started that process. We did speak about our own digitized procurement system in the province, which we have started, and we will give a report soon about it. We are committed to this. I think last week, Tuesday, Treasury officials attended, is it Tuesday, AI course, the Gauteng Treasury officials through one of the universities, because we are committed about that. And then, Zola, your question similar to that one, which I've responded to. Everyone has to pay, and I don't think explanation matters. What is important is that people must pay. They shouldn't explain why they are not paying. We shouldn't understand why they are not. They must pay. When you receive services, you must pay. And these are people who are employed, even worse, by the same municipalities. So there shouldn't be any explanation. Mpo, you don't just dissolve a municipality. You don't just do that. Just tell me which municipality must be dissolved. You don't just dissolve. That's a very drastic thing to do. You don't just do it. There are provisions in the constitution. A municipality is not a subordinate of a province where you just wake up and say we dissolve you. Doesn't work like that. There are 3 spheres of government in our country. Each one is autonomous. And in the constitution, there is a provision for, I think, the section 139, which says that you must follow certain steps. And I think it's section 139(1), which says there's 3 things you can do. The first one is to, what do you do? You can intervene and alert the municipality in writing, you are not doing this and that. The second one, you can issue instruction notes to the municipalities. You are going to do this and that. Dissolution is the last, and dissolution is not necessarily a solution, because when you dissolve, they must go to elections in 3 months' time. So you dissolve them in 3 months' time, the same people could come back and all that. So that's not the solution. The solution is to make sure that the system works. Must fix the system. There is Mr. Kele talks about political instability, which to a greater extent is caused by these what do you call coalitions since I think 2016 or so, and it has gotten worse after the 2021 elections, and that's why one of the discussions that everyone is having is how do you regulate those coalitions so that you avoid this instability. You don't have a situation where every month you have a new mayor in a municipality. It causes instability. So there has to be regulation of these coalitions, and there has to be a law that is passed by Parliament, because it seems for the longest of time we'll be dealing with this, so that it's not easy to just remove a mayor in a municipality or a speaker and or not pass the budget, because those are things that have got a negative impact on the residents. The informal settlements have been growing for some time. There are a number of reasons why, and I think generally there's a problem of lawlessness, which I think has to be dealt with. And I think when you look at the state of the South African Police Service, you will then see the correlation between the weakening of the police service and other law enforcement agencies with lawlessness in society. I think the Madlanga Commission has unearthed a lot of those, which is concerning, and I hope that those who are responsible for dealing with the issues of law enforcement will be able to attend to that. So it's not just informal settlements. You've got a problem of zamazamas, for instance, that's getting out of hand in the certain parts of the province, and other crimes that have been committed. So it's not just about informal settlements, just a general state of lawlessness. And I think every municipality has got problems, including VAL, as you say, whether in Fuleni and all that. As we have reported here, it varies from municipality to municipality. And we are working with all municipalities. What we are not going to do is to try and pretend to be a municipality ourselves. We will not have that capacity. We don't have it. A municipality must execute its responsibilities as enshrined in the Constitution. And we will also execute ours as enshrined in the Constitution, and that includes doing oversight on the municipalities. That's what we are doing. On the indigent program, we don't have the numbers now, but it's an important question, which I think in our next briefing we will give you that. But what I can tell you is that the provincial government, through Department of COGTA and e-government, we have initiated a process of helping municipalities to create a credible indigency database. Because if you don't have a credible database, you are either going to leave out those who are qualified, rightfully so, or you are going to have people who don't deserve to be in the program benefiting in the program. So one of the things we said in the State of the Province address, I think 2 years back, was that issue of the indigency database, which I think is at an advanced stage. You wouldn't need the advisors if there were no problems in the municipalities. So it therefore doesn't make sense to take the same people who needs to be helped to be your advisors. That's why you look at people who are skilled, knowledgeable. Most of them have worked in those municipalities, and they are probably in the private sector or working on their own, or in the upper or in other levels of government like province and national. So they will vary from one individual to the next. And of course we are paying them. I don't know if you've got how much is cost. We are paying them because they are providing a service. I'm sure as journalists you are paid, I'm sure, by your companies for doing the work that you are doing. And I'm sure today I've helped you to get overtime because it's Sunday, you can claim overtime. So I'm sure you like me for calling this press conferences on Sundays so that you can get overtime. Yes, they are being paid, but we can look at how much it's that, but definitely they are being paid. Yeah.
Thank you, MEC. Colleagues, that brings us to the end of our self-briefing. Our colleagues at the door will guide you to the snacks in the kitchen. Thank you very much for having arrived. The press briefing is adjourned.